I call this meeting to order at 6:02 p.m. We're going to start by signing the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we get started with the rest of the agenda, I do just want to take a moment to recognize that this past Thursday we lost a member of the Acton community. Greg Kane, Deputy Town Clerk and Tax Collector, passed. I heard nothing but rave and positive comments about Greg and the work that he did for the town, how much he loved the work, how much he loved working with people in Acton, from both residents and his fellow employees alike. So I would like to take a moment of silence in his honor. Okay, thank you. With that, we're gonna continue on, unless, Jennifer, did you wanna say anything?
No, I just mirror what you said. Greg was an excellent person, a wonderful employee. We're all still kind of in shock. We're appreciative to all the residents, everybody, the select board, everybody that's reached out to us to comfort us and condole us. Thinking of their family. As of now, they have not released services, but as soon as they do, we will certainly let the public know. And the family appreciates your thoughts during this time.
Thank you.
I've been in contact with a family member because I come to find out I knew him. Small world. And one thing Greg did, he always talked about acting. He loved acting. And being not from Acton, he was from Buxton?
Mm-hmm.
Buxton. But he loved working at Acton. And he was always telling everybody and these family members that I didn't realize were family members with him until this all happened. Talked about how he talked about his job and loved his job. So he's going to be missed.
Jennifer and I actually interviewed. It was a good interview. We kind of knew the minute we met him that this was a person that would fit in, and he did. It was amazing. So good.
I'll miss him sticking his head in the room every Wednesday night and wishing us good night and a good week. You know,
Pleasant, very pleasant
Exactly.
person to deal
always.
with.
He didn't have to do that,
Nope.
No.
but he did.
He was the, a lot of people come into your life that can be nice people, nice guy, nice gal. He was someone you could very easily say that about. And once you met him, he always had a great smile, made you feel like he was very interested in engaging with you. He just, I think, was a wonderful ambassador for the town, truly going to be missed.
Warrants and bills, have they all been signed?
Yes.
Next, approval of this week's agenda.
You can motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Minutes of last week's meeting.
I got here late, dude. I didn't get to get on, so want to table that?
Yeah.
Can we table that
Yeah.
next week?
All in favor of tabling the minutes from last week's meeting? Town administrator weekly update.
Okay, just a few things for you. First, a couple pertaining to the Sheriff's Department. First, want to let you know, as you recall, last week we had a resident that had some concerns, a public comment regarding some traffic issues down near the Milton Mills 109 area. I was in contact with Deputy Sanborn and asked him to watch the clip from public comment so he could hear the actual concerns in the direct area, and asked him to reach out to that resident. So for now, with the board's approval, we'll just let them communicate directly and let him reach out to the Deputy Sanborn or Sheriff King and see where it needs to go from there and if it needs to come back before the board. Next is the Sheriff's Department log for the month of June. On June 2nd, deputies responded to a resident on Route 109 in Acton for a report that an unknown female was knocking on his door. She then had a seat on his porch. Contact was made with the intoxicated female who claimed to have been in an argument with her father and wanted to stay in a motel for the night. She apparently just got misplaced, and they eventually got her a ride to the Quality Inn. Also on June 2nd, they conducted a 4-hour proactive speed enforcement detail on Route 109 and Goose Pond Road. 10 vehicles were stopped for speeding violations.
When was that?
June 2nd.
At what time?
It doesn't say.
10 seconds.
Interested in knowing how many of those 10 cars were stopped for speeding, how many actually were ticketed, because I think that's what helped slow it down. It doesn't say, but it just says that 10 vehicles were stopped for speeding. June 3rd, Deputy Sanborn and Major Sanford responded to a home on Godding Road in Acton for an attempted suicide by a 72-year-old female. She was found unconscious by her husband, who called 911. She was life-flighted to Portsmouth Hospital. June 6th, the deputy responded to a home in Newfield Road in Shapley after a resident requested assistance with her niece who was combative while experiencing a mental health episode. She was transported without incident. June 11th, deputies checked on a home on Fox's Ridge Road, looking for a 2017 white Honda Civic that was involved in a shooting in the Concord, New Hampshire area. The operator was considered to be armed and dangerous. The vehicle was not located. 6:18, deputy located the vehicle on Fox's Ridge Road. A search warrant was written and the vehicle was seized and impounded.
Did you find the individual now?
It does not indicate. It just says they found the car a week later at the same home, presumably. June 12th, a deputy investigated a complaint of an assault that occurred at Horn Pond Public Boat Launch in Acton. One male struck another over a girlfriend that they had both dated. The victim refused to press charges and the situation was mediated. June 13th, a sergeant responded to a disturbance on Shapley Corner Road near Boonies. Subject called to report that her 15-year-old grandson got upset while she was driving and broke the window in her car. She stopped the vehicle. He left on foot. He was later located walking on Shapley Corner Road. Investigation confirmed that there was probable cause for criminal mischief, and he was served a juvenile summons. June 17th, intel was received early in the afternoon that a wanted individual, 45-year-old from Shapley, was likely at his place of employment in Sanford. The warrant was out of North Berwick for domestic violence stalking. The individual was located at his home and arrested. June 19th, deputy and a sergeant responded to a home on Ridge Road in Shapley for a disturbance. Female, 44, was arrested for domestic violence and transported to the jail. June 21st, deputies were called to Iron Tails for a female who fell on her face and was bleeding. EMS requested deputies due to an unruly subject at Iron Tails. The situation was calmed prior to the deputies' arrival. Also on the 21st, deputies responded to a home on 30th Street in Shapley for a domestic disturbance between a mother and daughter. No crime was committed. The situation was mediated. June 24th, two deputies responded to a home on Shapley Corner Road in Shapley for a domestic disturbance. 59-year-old Shapley was arrested for domestic violence. He was brought to the jail on $300 bail. 25th of June, deputies responded to a home on Fox's Ridge Road. It says in Shapley, but I'm assuming they mean Acton. For a disturbance, some neighborhood residents were upset about a small group of guys target practicing in a field. A couple of neighbors confronted the shooters, but then left when the shooters argued with them. The 37-year-old from Shapley then drove by the shooters and pointed his pistol at them while mouthing "pop, pop, pop" at the three shooters. The individual then went back to his house, discharged his own pistol on his own property.
That doesn't sound like a good idea.
Yeah.
No,
There were charges with criminal threatening and dangerous weapon.
Waving a gun at three people with guns.
Yeah, no.
That's a great idea.
June 25th, a deputy responded to a crash on Back Road in Shapley. The 38-year-old driver was intoxicated and arrested for OUI and brought to the hospital and then submitted to a test. 28th, the deputies responded to a home on Silver Lake Road in Shapley for a reported medical emergency. Subject called to report that her 47-year-old husband was unresponsive in the bathroom. Subject was declared deceased. Appears to be medically related. That is the June report. Reminder that the town hall is closed this Friday for July 4th. If you see cars in the parking lot, please do not knock on the door. Next is a reminder that we have a couple of rec openings. The director thinks that she might have a couple of names of people interested, so we hope to have that before you soon. EMA director has had me send out the emergency operation plan to the department heads. He's gonna give them 2 weeks to look over it, and then we're gonna have a meeting of the minds, like we did in the past. And last is Senator Collins' office reached out to me because they saw the article referencing Acton and the postal concerns that some residents had. So just very quickly, my name is Xavier. I'm an intern from Senator Collins' office in Biddeford. This morning, they were made aware of the news article. Unfortunately, it seems like Acton residents are having some trouble receiving their mail. We have communicated with the USPS, and they have indicated that the most effective way to resolve postal issues is by filing a complaint on their website, and he has provided a direct link. If anybody would like that, certainly let us know. But again, go on USPS, and there is a complaint that you can fill out, and then we'll try to resolve it.
Do you guys find that you don't get your mail for like 4 or 5 days?
I do.
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, it's like a week
Yeah.
later, and I know they just passed a bunch of money for the postal service, and it got worse.
Took me
So-
13 days to get something from Rochester to here.
Yeah, I was waiting for my fuel stickers from the state of Maine, and it was like 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think people had filed complaints.
They did.
Yeah, and they weren't getting much, and I think actually all the social media was what really got them
Pushed
to
it.
pay attention to it, so.
I know
Whatever
they're,
it takes, they did it.
And well, I guess there's something to do with Amazon too. I
Well-
guess they're delivering Amazon packages
Yeah.
now.
To the post
So
office.
that's,
They've been
they
doing that for-
literally are not delivering mail certain days so they can deliver Amazon
Packages.
packages.
Jennifer,
why our
is there any
emails
way
get so
that
bad.
that link can be shared in the newsletter so that people?
Sure, the
want
board
to-
wishes.
Or could we put it on our website too?
I know, yeah, on our website, just so that if people do have it, because it does seem like a lot of people have.
Okay.
I know there's down 1 or 2 people, and, you know, our carrier was fabulous.
Yeah.
Was
Not her
out
fault.
for, I think she was out for 2 weeks. But I know some of these people, you know, they're telling them, you have 8 hours to do this route, and their route takes them 10,
Yeah.
and they're doing it on their own time.
Yeah, and that's silly. They shouldn't be doing that. It's the postal service's job to make sure we get our mail.
Yeah.
And if it's not working on in the 8 hours, then they can find help, get help for these people. It ain't good.
Thank you for that update.
That's all I have tonight, thank you.
With that, we're gonna go on to liaison update. First, we have myself. The only update I have is from the planning board, which has a public hearing and a meeting scheduled for tomorrow at 6 p.m. I don't have any updates on the Muslim Dam Coalition. And then with the rec, there are some open spots, so if anyone's interested, reaching out to either the town administrator or the rec director about those open positions. Next, we have Ed.
Sure, thanks. Got a nice email from John Ross about me being the liaison to the school. So he's gonna get the dates to me of their meetings and whatnot, so I can attend some of those. Nothing new on the Lincoln School. And transfer station, we did the switch over. But the switch over happened this week. We're now under waste management, so I trust everything will go well there. And got everything to us like they promised. And
Awesome.
we have some
Did they drop
backup containers and,
Did they drop off the extra container already?
Yep.
Nice.
so,
Yeah, and just to add to that, Triano did a great job closing us out on their last day. It was Monday. They brought in their container like we requested. They took out at the end of the day, so they were extremely great to work with. And did touch base with John Rulo a little while ago, the superintendent, who said everything went very smooth today, and it's been a great transition.
That's awesome. It's good to hear.
that's all I have.
Awesome. And next, we have Tom.
Yes, you remember last week I spoke a little bit about asking Mark Roy to assist us with developing a capital planning process for the town. The first step in that was to develop a draft policy. It's called Acton Capital Asset Management and Planning Policy, and basically it describes what kind of records we need to keep and maintain, and the role of various town officials, including department heads, in doing that. And then a process for developing a long-term capital plan with funding mechanisms that are part of the annual operating budget process. So I have a draft here. Jennifer, have you got some more copies of
I've
this?
emailed it to all of them.
Okay, so you all have copies, and perhaps our next meeting or thereafter, maybe one thereafter, we could come back and talk about this.
I think
And then we could have Mark come in at a future date.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm really excited to see what this looks like. Anything else?
No, that's all, thank you.
Okay. Then we have John.
I just have a little bit, Mary Grant will be having their summer picnic on the 13th. I have nothing for my others. I'm still waiting for some information about rebates on some of the HVAC stuff that I've got coming, hopefully from Mountain Valley Tech. It appears that they may be on vacation right now. So once I get that, I'll get back to the people at the CRP and hopefully get our money released and we can start moving forward.
I'm excited to see that progress. David.
I don't have anything on cemetery committee, road committee hasn't, anything planned. Municipal grounds, nothing. I might as well, 109, I guess we've got a couple complaints. They've been calling me, which is fine, but I'm gonna be making some phone calls to the supervisors over for Grondon. Cause I guess the complaints have been made by them, isn't going anywhere, they're having issues with the flagging and some other stuff, so I'm gonna be making a phone call tomorrow morning on that. I would've done it today, but it did slip my mind. And, but at the same time, I just wanna make sure that everybody knows that this is not a town of Acton issue, this is a state of Maine issue. That's a state project, not an Acton project, but the residents of the town of Acton, have some complaints, and, so I'll do what I can, so.
We appreciate you taking that extra step.
Can I have one more second?
Yeah.
So I just want to acknowledge, last Thursday, the appreciation dinner that Jennifer and Dan worked very hard on for our, the people that volunteer for all of our boards and committees, and I think it couldn't have gone any better than it did.
Even in the rain.
Even in the rain.
Yeah.
I think the rain actually helped us out because we started running food and people got to sit in here and talk with each other, meet people for the first time. I was pretty happy when I left here last Thursday.
I want to give credit also. I mean, you folks were just as much part of this. You folks approved it. You went forward. You ran the food. So it was a board event. I remember that. You folks did just as much work as everyone else. So, and just naming what you said, one of my favorite parts was seeing people who have dedicated themselves to this town tirelessly, meeting each other for the first time, and like, wait, I'm on this committee, you're on this committee, we've never met. That was fascinating, but I think one of my favorite parts of that. So thank you to this board for allowing that event to take place, and Jennifer and staff for all the behind the scenes work that you folks continue to do and making these things possible.
And the staff was making signs up and stuff.
Yeah, they love being involved in those things. I'm just sad that Greg didn't get to be a part of it, because that was one of the last conversations on Wednesday. He was really looking forward to it, but
He would have loved it.
we did hear from a lot of people at the counter, a lot of board and committee members that came in and said, wow. And I have to pick on Tom, because I had more than one mentioned Tom by name. They had never met him, and they had just seen him on TV, and they felt like, they were just excited to get to meet him in person. But they were really very, appreciative, and I mean, watching you guys work, and it was great. Run back and forth. The volunteers really appreciated your time, all of you.
I was joking around with one of the volunteers there. I said, "You didn't bring your husband?" He's like, "Well, he's not on the committee." I said, "Well, now he's a reason to get on one."
There you go.
It was
Next one was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Food was good. I thought the food trailer did well. She did well.
The food was good?
Yeah, big sandwiches. I mean, they were
Oh, it was huge.
huge.
I got my steps in.
Yeah, it
I
was
have my watch on.
Perfect. Good job, guys.
So thank you for that. Next, we're going to move on to department head and committee chair updates, which I don't see any present. So we're going to move on to old business, which I don't see any, which means we're on.
So Travis Penny, who's one of our commercial haulers, has put in his application. They technically run out June 30th. Appreciate him getting it in as early as he has paid the fees, provided the listing of the individuals that he's required to. I, however, do not have his insurance. I just spoke to his wife a little while ago and reminded her that I needed it. So I would ask that you approve it contingent on me having that in hand, so that we can get them going before the holiday weekend, assuming I get it.
I'd like to recommend approval of the commercial haulers permit to Travis Penny?
Yeah.
Thank you. It would be conditional upon his providing an insurance certificate. All the fees have been paid, and so I made that recommendation.
Second.
All in favor? Do we all need to sign that? I take it.
What's that?
Just making sure we all need to sign. I guess while we're signing that, we can go into liquor license.
So we have a one-day liquor license on September 20th from 3:30 to 9:30 at the Everly. It's a licensed contractor, Atwater Holdings. They actually did one in Acton just a couple of weeks ago. Paid the fee, licensed by the state, liability insurance, with no concerns.
I'd like to make a recommendation to approve a liquor license for Atwater Holdings LLC for an event to be held when, Jennifer?
Next page, I think it's September
Next
20th.
page, okay, thank you. September 20th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Is there a signature page?
No, you don't have to sign that one, it's all electronic now. Thank you.
Next we have appointments.
So, two of our rec committee members are returning. So those are the names that we're moving forward so far.
I'd like to make a recommendation to appoint two individuals as rec committee members for a term ending June 30, 2026. First is Tim Collins and the second is Cassandra Donato.
Second. All in favor? And then last we have transfer station hire.
So, John and I and Ed, yes, interviewed, between the three of us, we interviewed several candidates for the part-time employee. Ed was kind enough to jump in last week to help us out on Thursday when we had the private passing of Greg, so thank you for doing that last interview for me. We all came to a consensus at the end that candidate A was we thought the best choice for the town of Acton. We brought him in on Saturday to have it one day run. Everything went great. The superintendent is very impressed with his work ethic and she wants to help and kind of fill in here and there for everybody. So it's our recommendation that we hire for the summer job Lance Bennett as posted. So run through the end of September.
I'll make a motion that we hire Lance Bennett for transfer station.
Second that.
All in favor?
Has anybody made it up Saturday or Monday to meet him? Yeah. Maybe your next-
I was just saying,
next
I
trip up.
did meeting.
Yeah. He's a nice guy. He's a
Did the
local.
fire department hire that individual?
Yes, they did. He's given his, thank you, 2-week notice and he's coming in Tuesday to finish his paperwork.
Very good.
We'll release his name next week.
And with that, we're done new business. Is there any public comment?
What he made, there's something to say.
Yes, Lenny May. Bernard Broder. Before I forget, I will go to the flagging issue because today I was headed towards Wakefield and we waited quite a while, and then when we were ultimately flagged through, thank goodness for the non-flagging crew who left their machinery to come out and stop the traffic because the flaggers had allowed the opposite traffic to come through. So kind of a mess, so I'm glad you're gonna
Yeah.
speak with them.
Yeah, I had my own issues up there the other day too.
Is that what's
so.
happening, David? Is that they're letting traffic go both
They
both
got
sides?
radios and stuff, but what'll happen, they get miscommunication, and when you have a span that long,
Mhm.
you know, your safety zone and this and that, and they're not eye contact, And before you know it, they let someone through, or there's someone's coming out of a pit road or something, or
With their
whatever.
driveway.
So
Yeah.
what they're gonna have to start doing is, they're supposed to have somebody at each intersection. Garvin, say if they're working there, the pit, there's traffic coming in and out of there. Whether or not they're doing that or not, but, some of the complaints I got were pretty serious, when you come on head on with a dump truck,
Yeah,
because,
it's not good.
no, not good at all.
Yeah, it's dangerous, potentially, so. I want to thank the board and the staff for the volunteer recognition dinner. It was very nice, it was great to see everyone. I think it really says a lot about the town, given the number of people that give their time to the town. And, and this ties into that too, but multiple times in recent months, I've heard the board comment about what a great staff we have now, talking about the town hall. We do everywhere, but specific to the town hall, that things are efficient, it's a well-oiled machine, and everybody's working well together, and so forth, and I agree with that. And I think that's what makes Greg's passing particularly sad and difficult, because it's not just business, it's relational, and people were close to him. And I really commend our staff for holding it together Thursday to put on that volunteer dinner despite the tremendous pain that they were in. It really meant a lot, and it says a lot about people's dedication for everyone, but particularly for Jennifer. I don't know how she did it. And as I've said on many other things, I don't know how she does it, but I'm glad she does. So, I think that's it. I do just want to say on the transfer station that, people have worked in extreme heat in the past week or so, and that doesn't go unnoticed either. And I think that the people here appreciate that. So,
Yes, the board actually sent them up pizza last week to recognize that on that hottest day, so I forgot to tell you, they said thank you. They sent pizza, the board sent pizza up and more cold drinks, and we make sure they're
yeah,
well
very,
fluid, so.
very nice.
And my apologies for not telling you, thank you.
Yes. And it's those things
It matter,
that matter.
right? They were,
And that reminded me of the last thing I want to say, which is, and I've already said this publicly, but on Facebook, but I think that it says a lot that the board closed the town hall Friday out of respect for Greg, and once again, out of recognizing the needs of our staff to have that time. And it's the little things, but we say a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Any other public comment? The only thing I have to say is that it's supposed to be a warm weekend, so I hope that everyone has a safe and good 4th of July. With that being said, I would entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn. I'll make a motion at 6:31 p.m. to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? We're adjourned.